everyone, Sterling here of Cactus Lady Creation, back with another deep dive, and in this video I'm going to be sharing all about some big news that has the fiber arts and crafting communities absolutely buzzing, and it is that Joann's Stores has filed for bankruptcy again. That's right, the store that we've all relied on for that last minute yarn or fabric run is in some deep financial trouble. But what is really happening, and more importantly, what does this mean for all of us fiber artists and crafters? Well, let's get into it. Well, to understand how we got here, let's take a brief look into Joann's history. Joann started in 1943 as a humble fabric store in Cleveland, Ohio. Two German immigrants, Hilda and Bertold Reich, along with their close friends Sigmund and Samuel Robach, opened a small fabric store. Initially called Cleveland Fabric Shops, the store was a family-run business with a simple goal: provide affordable fabric to local communities during a time when resources were scarce. These were tough times, but their business thrived because they fulfilled a niche, providing affordable fabrics to people who needed to mend their clothes during the war. And back then, sewing wasn't just a hobby, it was actually a necessity. After the war ended, the business continued to grow as America entered the 1950s and 60s. There was a crafting boom. Homemakers began exploring quilting, embroidery, and sewing as creative pastimes, and Joann's became their go-to spot. By the 1960s, they officially adopted the name Joann Fabrics, and they got this name by combining the names of the daughters of both families, Joan and Jacqueline Ann. In 1969, Joann Fabrics became a publicly held corporation traded on under the name of Fabricenters of America, Inc. And throughout the years, Joann's even expanded its inventory by adding items such as yarn, scrapbooking supplies, and even seasonal decor. By the 1980s, Joann Fabrics was a household name, known for its giant stores packed with everything a crafter could dream of. In 1994, the company made its first acquisition with the purchase of Cloth World, a 342-store Southern company. At the time of the acquisition, Fabricenters operated 655 stores. Over the years, it grew into a crafting giant with over 800 locations nationwide. And since then, it's become a haven for crafters, DIYers, and fiber artists alike. In 1997, Fabricenters, the parent company of Joann Fabrics, settled federal charges for $3.3 million after being accused of misleading investors in 1992 by overstating its earnings before selling securities. Alan D. Roskam, the CEO at the time and grandson of the company's founders, Hilda and Bertold Reich, also settled a related administrative complaint. The following year, in 1998, Fabricenters expanded significantly by acquiring House of Fabrics, a company that operated under various names, including Fabricland, Fabric King, and SoFro Fabrics. And later that year, in September of 1998, the company was officially rebranded Joann Stores, Inc., and all stores renamed Joann Fabrics. In March 2006, Daryl Webb took over as a chairman and CEO, marking a new leadership era for the company. On March 23, 2010, Joann Stores announced its sale to private equity firm Leonard Green and Partners for $1.6 billion USD, leading to the company's delisting from the stock exchange in March 2011. And shortly after Daryl Webb resigned, Travis Smith was appointed as the new CEO. By March 2015, Jill Soltau was named president, CEO, and a member of the board of directors. Under Soltau's leadership, Joann made headlines for opposing President Trump's tariffs, arguing that American manufacturers couldn't meet the company's quality or volume needs. Soltau, alongside 7 other retail CEOs, met with the administration to discuss the tariffs' potential impact on consumer prices and businesses.
Great to have you, Jill. All right, pretend I am the U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer. Make your case.
Well, these tariffs are unintentionally placing a tax on goods that are made in America. These are products that our customer every day puts their heart and soul into supplement their income. We think of our customers like Heather and Diane out of Hector, Minnesota, who have a thriving business. They create, they design, they sew, and they sell kitchen appliance covers out of fabric, and they have a thriving Etsy shop And with these tariffs, they would have to pay more for their products, and they risk that their customers would then have to opt to leave them, not shop with them, and buy something that's foreign made, really out of the same resources.
A couple of weeks ago, the U.S. Trade Representative's office put out a 200-plus page booklet of all potential products from China that are under consideration to be slapped with tariffs. So, like a nerd, I was reading them. I get to page, I don't know, 140 something, and the whole page mentions yarn of every single kind. Spun yarn, cotton yarn, acrylic yarn. Now, 2/3 of your products you buy from China, correct? Do you have a plan B here?
Well, we are looking at every opportunity that we can in order to anticipate what we need to do. But as you said, 2/3 of our products are imported from China. But what's interesting about the products that we sell, we have over 40,000 items within an average store, and many of those items have come to America because they emerged in China.
And in March of 2018, Joann's completely dropped fabrics from the names, just branding it as Joann's to reflect its wider range of crafting and DIY supplies. That same month, Soltau left Joann, and in March 2019, Wade Minquillen stepped in as president, CEO, and a member of the board, ushering in another leadership transition for the company. Have you ever spent the afternoon just simply wandering the aisles of Joann's? I know for me, it's a place where creativity meets convenience. There's been so many times where it's saved the day when I ran out of yarn mid-project. I remember even last spring, I was working on this granny square dress, and I ran out of yarn mid-project, but I was able to go to my local Joann's and find the exact yarn that I needed in the exact colorway. So for many of us, Joann's is just the place where we're able to get our creative needs met. But like many retail giants, it's having a really difficult time adapting to our rapidly changing modern world. So how did we get here? Before the COVID-19 pandemic, Joann's was struggling financially, reporting a staggering loss of $546.6 million in its 2019 fiscal year. But then by the end of the 2020 fiscal year, things took a dramatic turn. The company reported profits of $212 million and added an impressive 9 million new customers. This growing number was largely attributed to mask mandates and the growing interest in DIY crafts. At the time, I know that crochet really experienced a huge explosion at this time, especially online, and so I could see how this positively impacted Joann's. In March 2021, Joann took steps to strengthen its online presence, announcing plans to build a new e-commerce facility in West Jefferson, Ohio, to handle the surge in online sales. However, the company faced significant backlash during the pandemic. Joann kept many of its stores open, claiming essential business status due to its free mask kits for local hospitals. While this initiative sounded noble on the surface, it quickly sparked controversy. Critics pointed out that many local hospitals rejected homemade masks, and some questioned Joann's motives. The materials in the free mask kits were revealed to be remnants, discounted scraps often sold from their clearance bins, and media outlets criticized the program, calling it more of a marketing ploy than a genuine effort to help. And the controversy didn't stop there. Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer ordered Joann stores in her state to close despite the company's request to stay open. Whitmer argued that the same materials for masks could be easily sold online, eliminating the need for in-person shopping and reducing health risks. Adding fuel to the fire, Joann faced public criticism for refusing to offer paid sick leave to employees affected by COVID-19, a move that many saw as prioritizing profits over employee well-being. And for many, these decisions left a lasting mark on Joann's reputation, even as the company was experiencing a temporary financial rebound. On March 16, 2021, Joann made a big move, going public on the NASDAQ market under the ticker symbol Joann. At this point, Leonard Green and Partners held a majority stake in the company, giving them the power to nominate up to 5 directors to Joann's board. Fast forward to September 2023, Joann's was starting to really show signs of trouble. The company announced layoffs at its corporate headquarters, but avoided disclosing how many jobs were being cut. By October 2023, things took a sharper downturn. Both Fitch Ratings and Credit Risk Monitor reported that Joann was on the brink of filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Around the time, the company received a delisting notice from NASDAQ because its stock had fallen below $1 per share, a major red flag. Joann was given time to boost its stock price, but failure to do so meant that it would soon be delisted. And in March 2024, Joann's had confirmed what many had long expected, its plans to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And this was a part of a larger plan to sell off its assets to lenders in order to lessen its debt burden. But it did confirm to many of its customers that it did not have any plans at the moment to close stores. On March 18, 2024, Joann officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The restructuring plan aimed to cut over $500 million in debt, transitioning Joann to a privately owned company, and keep stores and employees unaffected. They announced plans to complete the process by late April. However, by March 28th, trading of Joann's stock was halted on NASDAQ. And just a few weeks later, on April 9th, Joann was formally delisted from the stock exchange. The turnaround seemed promising, though. On April 25, 2024, a federal judge approved Joann's reorganization plan, allowing the company to exit bankruptcy and officially become privately held, all while keeping stores open and protecting jobs. But this relief was unfortunately short-lived, as less than a year later, on January 15, 2025, Joann Inc. filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection for the second time in less than a year. This move comes as the company grapples with declining sales, inventory shortages, and a challenging retail environment. Interim CEO Michael Pendergrass stated that the company is seeking a court-supervised sale process to maximize its business value. Currently, at the time of this video, there's one bid by Gordon Brothers Retail Partners LLC, which has indicated plans to liquidate the company and conduct going out of business sales at all store locations. However, Joann's is actively soliciting alternative bids in hopes of finding a path that would allow the company to continue operating. However, if no other buyer emerges, then Joann's will allow Gordon Brothers Retail Partners LLC to liquidate all of its assets, including all store inventory, valued at $538.3 million. Joann entered bankruptcy with $615.7 million in debt after using its previous 2024 bankruptcy to eliminate $505 million in debt. And the company had $2 billion in net sales in 2024. Joann kept all of its retail stores open during its last bankruptcy, and it currently has 800 stores in 49 states with 19,000 employees. Joann had previously believed that its debt reduction deal would help it to resume business as usual. But high inflation, increased competition, and supply chain disruption caused irreparable harm to its post-bankruptcy business plan, according to its court filings. Despite emerging from its previous bankruptcy in April 2024 with reduced debt, Joann's still holds significant liabilities, including over $133 million owed to suppliers and $26 million in monthly rent expenses. These financial strains, coupled with increased competition from online retailers and supply chain disruptions, have severely impacted the company's stability. So what does this all mean? Let's just break it down. Joann's basically owes a lot of money still. Over $450 million to its lenders and $133 million to suppliers and vendors. So in order to deal with this, the company has proposed a plan to either sell itself or its assets in an auction. I didn't know the full extent of how much Joann's owed some of its vendors until recently, when I was just poking around on social media as usual, and I saw a few small businesses that I follow that are currently owed thousands of dollars from Joann's that just haven't heard anything from them. So this is a problem. First, Joann's needs approval from the court to start the auction process, If approved, they'll hold the auction within 30 days, and if they don't hold the auction or follow through on the deal, they risk losing access to money they currently rely on, which is being held by their lenders as collateral. Gordon Brothers Retail Partners has already entered an initial bid, so this sets the floor price, which is the minimum that Joann's can sell for. Gordon Brothers specializes in liquidating stores, meaning that they buy struggling companies, shut them down, and sell everything off. If another buyer comes forward with a better offer before February 12th, Joann's will hold an auction to see who's willing to pay the most. And this could help the company stay afloat if the right buyer steps in. If no better offer comes in, Joann's will sell to Gordon Brothers, and this would likely mean the company would shut down its stores and go out of business. For now, Joann says its stores will stay open until the process plays out, and this is all a part of their Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which allows them to restructure their debt and try to avoid shutting down completely. However, if they're not able to find another buyer, they might not survive. So what does this all mean for us crafters? Well, if Joann's closes its doors, it definitely leaves a hole in the landscape of fiber arts and crafting. It's really great to be able to go into a store and feel the materials and the fabrics before you decide to buy them, and this would all be lost. I know that it's also really important for a lot of beginners who are beginning their crafting journey to be able to go and have that accessibility to be able to buy the supplies that they need. And it's also really important for us small businesses who rely on Joann's to be able to go in and get those crafting supplies and materials that we need to be able to make our products. I know for me it's really important also when I need that last minute yarn run to be able to finish and create products for my product launches and for new collections. I know that many of us rely on going into Joann's to be able to compare colors and feel materials before purchasing a bunch of it online. And a lot of beginner crafters really rely on Joann's to be able to purchase affordable and accessible materials. And Joann's is really essential for a lot of small businesses. I know for me, there's not a lot of local and independent yarn stores around me, and so Joann's really would leave a gaping hole in the availability and accessibility of yarn shops for me to be able to go into and feel the yarn before I purchase them online. So losing Joann's would definitely be inconvenient and could make crafting less accessible, especially for those who don't live near independent craft stores. It's also a hit for teachers, community groups, and nonprofits who rely on Joann's for affordable supplies. But there's also another side to this. Perhaps this is an opportunity for us to rethink how we source our materials. Maybe this could lead to more local yarn shops opening or cause others to buy more hand-dyed yarns from indie dyers. And also, upcycling materials could become even more popular than it already is. Maybe this is a chance to craft more mindfully and sustainably overall. Definitely let me know all of your thoughts on this in the comments below. I know for me, it's really hard to not think about the employees who have really risked their health, especially going in through Corona and just riding the waves of all of this with Joann's. But let me know what you think. Do you think that Joann's will turn all this around somehow, or do you think this is the end of an era? But let's just discuss some ways that we can navigate the change if the worst happens and Joann's shuts down completely. We could shop local and support more small businesses and craft stores directly. We could buy more online thoughtfully by supporting more ethical and sustainable options. This is also a great time to get more creative with where we source our materials. We could look at thrift stores, Facebook Marketplace, and even try and use more yarn scraps in our makes in general. This is also a great time to start your own community. You can join or start your own online community. You can join craft fairs local to you, or even just get back to basics and start your own crafting circle. I know that I've seen so many people online doing this, creating their own local craft communities. And I know that I've personally also created my own Discord with this community here at Cactus Lady Creation. If you want to check out the link for that, definitely check it out in the description box below. It has no paywall, it's free, and On there, there's a really great group of people from around the world who we all just share what we're working on and share different tips, and it's also just a lot of fun to get inspiration. Joann's potential closure overall is a reminder that nothing stays the same forever, but as crafters, we're nothing if not adaptable. So what are your thoughts on Joann's bankruptcy? Do you think that they can turn it around, or do you think this is the end of an era? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe, and join me back each week for more videos like this. If you really enjoy and want to support this channel, also please consider becoming a member. You can click below on the join button if you want to see more about that. And if you are trying to start your own online business and want more tips, definitely check out my Entrepreneur playlist next. And if you're a crocheter and you're trying to figure out what kind of project to make next, definitely check out my crochet inspiration playlist. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.